Hi, this is John Zott, and we're doing week 9 biases incentives this week. We are actually starting with Bazerman and his chapters 4 through 7, which really is the heart of the whole idea about biases and illusions of control. The idea behind this material is for you to really see that people make similar mistakes over and over again. So the idea of a bias is that it's a shared behavior amongst all humans. So um, stuff like being overconfident, you see it everywhere in every culture. Issues about optimism, illusion of control, um, all that stuff, you see it everywhere. And we can actually say with some certainty that it's sort of a human attribute that we have this. So we'll start with that. I've got a list of biases up in the slides this week. The list of biases is extensively taken off of Pompian. I don't know if you can see Pompian. It's a little right here. Pompian is a registered investment advisor and a certified financial planner. He um, goes through the biases, talks about them, and then talks about what you can do to help people investing and managing their portfolios. This is good if you're an investment advisor or you're doing that kind of work. Otherwise, it's really kind of a detailed recap of Bayesian's biases. Now, as we've talked before, I mean, there's a lot of biases. They invent them all the time. Everybody has a slightly different take on them. They all really fall down to basically two big areas. The first is overconfidence. The second is loss aversion or regret avoidance. We talk a little bit about Kahneman and Tversky's prospect theory in this presentation. Prospect theory basically says, hey, we're motivated by the prospects in front of us, and we value those twice as strongly for bad outcomes. They hurt twice as worse as good outcomes. That's just a rule of thumb. They don't actually calculate twice as worse. But people in general avoid negative outcomes, more than search positive outcomes. So something to consider. After we finish his biases, I have some discussions about incentives. There's one outside reading. It's Charlie Munger's speech. I think it's at UCLA in the mid-90s. Charlie Munger's Warren Buffett's partner. And the speech is a little longish, maybe it's 15 pages, but it's really interesting, and he is absolutely a practitioner. After we finish incentives, there's a little bit on feedback loops. I have uncovered an optional paper in the doc sharing. It's not in the weeks. It's in the main section called the Janus Factor. The Janus Factor is a pretty interesting paper written by a guy named Gary Anderson, who's come to San Francisco several times to talk. And his ideas: positive feedback loops, negative feedback loops. We talk a little bit about reflexivity, which is George Soros' theory. And finally, we end up with some ideas for how to avoid, falling prey to these problems. I put one of them in last week's slideshow. I put the rest of the stuff to avoid it. We'll be coming back to Bayesian. We get later on in the semester to talk about how to improve our decision making. But with this, we should be finishing Bayesian. You should have a good handle over confidence and regret avoidance. So next week, we'll be getting onto neuroeconomics. I've posted the instructions for the final paper this week. The final paper, final project, is about a third of your grade. It is due the last week. 8 to 25 pages, it's 2,400 to 4,800 words. You can have charts and slides. If you have any questions, let me know. I need you to let me know what you're going to write about. And I need to have that from you by week 12, because I need you to be thinking about your project and also touching base with me. Most people try to do too much in this. I mean, it's a really neat project that you can work on, but you got to really bound yourself, because you do not have all the time in the world to work on this. So thanks and enjoy. Call me if you have any questions or drop me an email.